to my podcast on real relationships. My name is Sophie Passon, and I am a relationship expert, international speaker, and best-selling author of the book Your Other Half. I decided to start this podcast because, in my opinion, relationships are currently not being portrayed as what they really are. Whether you're watching the news, TV, social media, the perception given to people is wrong. And my aim is to talk about what happens in the real world, talk about real stories, and listen to what real people think, do, or go through, as opposed to creating expectations of something that doesn't actually exist. I may not agree with everything that is said by my guests, but it is their chance to express their opinions and their stories. So here today, we are going to talk to Andre Parody about the way to commitment, because I personally believe it can be a journey. Hi, Andre, how are you?
Good morning. How are you? I love that. You know, the way to commitment. Bum, bum, bum.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
The journey started 2006, really 2009 I started the business, but I come from a background of, I'm a researcher. I look like a musician, but I research everything. I told my story on the other podcast we did together. So if people listen, they'll get the details of that. But my brain was always about learning curious about life, about the human condition fascinates me. And again, it started because of my circumstances as a kid and became my driver, like watching, researching, why. And the human condition, like human beings are amazingly complex to me. And the more strange the person, the more unique the person, the more I go right for them. Hey, because I'm curious, right? Like how do you get to be you? Like how, like, and all the stories and all the circumstances that make us into the unique human beings that we are. So that's always been my life. 2006, I tripped on this material. Started researching everything about relationships, knowing I was married with two little kids, and realized I knew nothing about women or my wife, which scared the life out of me. I wasn't going to be a statistic because I didn't know.
Yeah.
The not knowing always scares me. Like, so I'm always trying to learn everything. This is just my brain. So did all this work just for me and my wife. I did not want to be a statistic. So I was just selfishly doing it for us. So that became my catalyst. And so I had two businesses. This business kind of built itself because I was focused on it, as the other car business that I had kind of kept growing, and eventually something had to give. I couldn't, and organically, people came at me. How do you? I used to counsel in my car shop, for Christ's sake. It was ridiculous. I would have to close the door because the lady was crying at my desk. You know what I mean? Because people would just open up on me. Like, so I guess that whatever I had, that there's this.
But I think you see, there's something you said earlier on, and I interrupted, but that just brings it back. One of the issues is that people, when you said about, you know, the more quirky, the more unique the person, but most people don't know how to listen. So they won't get to hear the quirkiness, the uniqueness. And someone who knows how to listen, would class myself as one of those. I end up like you, with the people crying and having to close doors, and you're like, you can't say this out loud because there's too many people around here.
It's true. Like, my employees would actually know if the door closed, don't come in, somebody's crying. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes there's a couple like that actually have it out in front of me, like they knew me. So it's interesting. So that all kind of happened, as in like a polarized, like pulling me that way more and more. Again, I was doing this for me and my wife, you know, and my family, and then then my friends jumped in the Kool-Aid. Like I said, random clients. I'm now coaching them. So now I'm doing this full time. This is what I do all day long. That's all I do. So with that, again, I trained with 5 masters in the world of relationship stuff, dynamics, psychology, science. Everything I teach is nature and science with some chemistry in there, which is back to science. So I can explain this whole dance. I can explain men and women to women, men and women. I can explain why relationship works, why they don't work. And a lot of it is in our culture, the belief system, like you said. I love when you say, like, the belief about relationships out there is wrong. Like, you're not tiptoeing here, right? You're saying about, it's not idea. Like, it's wrong. That's like straight. It's absolutely completely freaking wrong. And I'm curious about how you got there, and you know what it means to you, because it's so wrong. Because I see it every day. It's not working. That's not how it works.
So tell us, to you, what is commitment?
Okay, this is gonna sound insane, right? but I see it every day. Like I said, this is not cute. This is not my opinion. Right? It's the research, the data, and being a man, understanding that as a man, watching my friends do it, my clients do it, and it's going to sound counterintuitive. Men understand commitment very, very well, and I'll explain that, and women don't.
And why is that? Explain both, and explain what commitment is to you. Okay. Because I think that some people have got different ideas of what it is.
So, God, where do I start? Because it's pretty thick. I want to say this about men first, right? So the idea that men are afraid of commitment is ridiculous because, again, back to basics, right? A man has to commit to get out of bed, A man has to commit to take a shower, A man has to commit to his job to get the job done. A man has to commit to his children to raise them, commit to his wife to create a family, right? So, and you have to look this through, you have to seek this through all the way. Men cannot turn around without committing to turning around. So men are not afraid of commitment. Men can't do anything without committing to doing whatever it is to do step by step. You with me?
So every day, any task they commit to.
They have to. That's how, seriously, I can't turn around unless I decide to turn around. You know what I mean? So everything's a commitment. Now, it's different that we're driven to commit to. What's driven to do is different than what a woman is committed to. Men are more stuff related, logical related. The machine of life, is what they typically are focused on, where women is more relationships and love and connection, right? So again, two different machines. Mm-hmm. Neither is wrong. It's two different machines. So commitment is something that men are very aware of constantly. Now, so why do men resist committing to women? That's what it looks like. That's not true, mm-hmm. right? What's happening is that for a man committing to a woman, one woman is taking this woman on mm-hmm. as his responsibility. It's not casual. It's huge. You know what I mean? Because he's going to hold himself accountable to keep her healthy, to keep her happy, to keep her in a lifestyle that he thinks is appropriate. Every guy has a different idea what that is, right? So there's a lot of flex in that. But ultimately, a commitment is, every guy knows this, right? You have to have some space for her. You have to have a little money to play with her. That's the point of making money for men, by the way, is the freedom it gives them to have fun. So there's a whole system. Like one of the guys at the gym, young guys, 20 something, and I'm like, do you have a girlfriend? Find it out. Funny that, and he goes, yeah, no. I go, why? He goes, because I don't have any money. I have nothing to offer a woman yet. Like, so obvious to him. But his girlfriend, if he had a girlfriend, we go, how come we don't get married? We love each other. That's not love. Love is one layer of it, but it's, can I take care of her? There's a mm-hmm. huge responsibility in commitment. And men know this instinctively. We all know this, that we all want the flow and the fun and the excitement and the sensuality of a good woman. But we also know that a bad woman will ruin your life. So men are very careful. I don't know if the word is careful. Men are very, very much watching mm-hmm. when they're in a relationship with women and seeing long term if she's on his side, she gets his back. Is she going to try to change him? Does she get him at all? Mm-hmm. Does she make fun of him? The lady you talked about earlier, you're not a real man. Well, how's that going to go, right? It's so disrespectful, right? So that's what men are watching for. What kind of woman are you? Do you get me? Do you support my efforts in the world? And are you wife material in that? So men are very aware of this, right?
And what about women?
Women, on the other side, now this goes back to anthropology and our ancestry as cavemen, cavewomen. Men are hunters, right? They provide, protect, cherish women, give, right? The more he keeps her comfortable, the more she's comfortable, the more she's happy. When she's happy, he's happy, right? There's a whole nature thing again here, all over the place. But for the feminine, in nature, anthropologically, women are smaller and weaker physically.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be able to tackle a buffalo.
But even no doubt about a guy smaller than you will be typically much stronger than you. Do you know what I mean? So women have a sense of that. So you have on your radar something that we don't have at all, this idea of safety. With safety all around you, physical safety, emotional safety. There's a spiritual safety for some. This is the last one, but there's 4 layers of safety that a woman is always aware of: financial, emotional, physical, spiritual, always on your mind. Mm-hmm. So it has you running to the car when it's dark. It has you afraid of elevators, staircases, and parking lots. We're not afraid of that. We don't even understand that, because that instinct that you could be ambushed, taken over, stolen by the next tribe, mm-hmm. by some stranger, right? So that, there's a need for safety. And what is the most safe thing, system in the world is a big strapping lad who goes, "You my woman." That's what a woman's looking for. safety, right? A guy who says, take me on, and it says, cares for her. Get this, the ultimate safety for a woman is be my wife. I vow to protect you for the rest of your life. I will take care of you, provide, protect you the rest of your life. The ultimate safety, right? That's what every woman wants, like it or not, instinctively, that's in there, right? Even the hardcore feminists will say to me, it's still like a masculine man as leading the family, leading my life, so that I could follow him and relax a little bit. Hardcore feminists who don't need man or money still want that instinct. Okay, so what then happens in that is, as a woman, you're aware of everything around you. You're a gatherer of information, gatherer of everything, right? The community and system is all how we all survived. We survive by hunting, you survive by gathering and coming together as women, community. So hunters are externally motivated, so they're always facing outwards. Gatherers are internally motivated, always looking inwards at the system, everything that comes at them. So to women, often men look aloof, disconnected, shallow, cold. You know what I mean? Because they're not focused on humans. They're focused on how we're going to survive this system. That's man. That's hunters. That's hunter brain. So to the feminine, it's always like, does he like me? Does he like me? Does he like me? Is he really after me? Is he? I know he's bringing the food home, but I don't know if he really likes me. And when he's not with me, is he talking to some other girl? Is he talking to somebody else? Is he like starting to not like me? Is he pleased by me, or is he like irritated with me because he comes home and he doesn't seem to really be happy to see me, right? Again, it's in his head. So everything that men do has women question how attached he is to her. And so this is where commitment is invisible for women, because men, when they commit, it's not for today, it's not for next week, it's not like, we'll see how I feel next week or next month, right? When a man commits to a woman, it's long term, always. Ask any man.
Question for you. Often, whether it's a marriage or a relationship, women leave, not men. Men are more likely to stay and put up with stuff they don't like.
Well, that's one reason, because when men are committed, they don't let go easy, right? Especially if there's children involved. I have one gentleman who's in his 50s plus, and he has teenage kids, and his wife is literally kind of lost it, right? Like she's coming off the rail completely. So she's not healthy. She's out of her mind, and she's actually very, very, very toxic, a little bit dangerous even. If a man can't come home and relax, his life goes to hell. So now he doesn't want to come home, right? This is how guys start hanging out and going for happy hour and hang out with their friends, and she gets more resentful. But really energetically, he can't come home. It's stressful, where he's supposed to recharge his batteries to hunt better. This is when the wheels come off for men, right? So this guy, his life is a mess because of the conditions in the household and her not well-being. Everybody says to him, divorce her, get the hell out of there. You know what I mean? Like, just let her have the damn house. He's like, no, she'll destroy the kids. She'll destroy the kids. I can't leave the kids. So he's committed in staying in this crap, even though his life is ruined, emotionally. And the fact that he has to come home and fight with this woman, but he's committed to his children, not committed to her necessarily anymore because she's out of her mind, but he's not leaving, protecting the kids. You see that? That's commitment. Now, men leave. Are you ready? This is when men leave. And it's much harder. It takes much longer for men to get there. Men will take on, your corks and your little everything for a long, long time. But this is when they leave. They say exactly this. Every one of them, different version of this. You ready? Men will say, go on. Because she complains, she goes after him. She doesn't get him, right? She's constantly at him, not doing it her way, disrespectful. So men will eventually, after years and years of this, will go, well, obviously, you want some perfect guy, and I'm not that guy because I can't make you happy. There's a key words. I obviously can't make you happy. So I'm going to release you back to the universe, into the world to find you Mr. Perfect, because it's obviously not me. This is a man who's been nagged to death and made me wrong for who he is. And after a while, there's nothing he can do to make her happy and have her respect him, like him, be happy to see him in the house. He leaves. This is when men, but it takes a lot, the crap for men to go there, right? For women, it's more like, again, paradigm of masculine and feminine, or physiology. Women are feeling driven, men are head driven. So often, everything that comes at you as a gatherer, because everything affects you on the outside, not for us, your moods will change like the weather. You're happy, like everything you see, smell, taste, hear, touch will make you feel good and bad moment to moment. Men don't know this because men don't function that way. They have a sense that you're sensitive, but they don't know why you get mad. They don't know why And they'll say stuff like, why you let that bother you? That's so stupid. And then you want to kill them. They don't understand that your feelings is who you are, are really who you are in the moment. When you're mad, you're just mad. And you could say, well, stop being mad. It's stupid. Now he's making you wrong for who you are. You want to kill him. So I teach men not to do this, but this is how we do it. Let it go. Put it in the box. Well, that's not a girl, right? You understand that your feelings run the show. And then from moment to moment, you go from feeling good to feeling bad to feeling this to feeling like the weather, you'll change. Sometimes it's our fault. Sometimes it's traffic. Sometimes the guy that flipped you off. Sometimes it's your mother. Sometimes it's somebody at work, right? Your feeling pull you left and right. Confusing for us, confusing for you, But with that, a lot of women, when he makes her feel bad, when he's not doing it right, when he said something or didn't say something or did something or didn't do something, like whatever the filter, if he's the source of my pain, he's wrong. And he's got to change, right? But if you think that's how it works, right, there's a way to ask for correction on men. If you nag him, if you go after him, tell him that he's wrong. If you directly go in his face, that's very disrespectful. There's a language, there's a proper way to ask a masculine man for correction, and they love to do it, right? But you have to know how to do that. You have to do that respectfully, that you trigger his instinct to fix, which we all have. Men are fixers and heroes, they want to be. So when you understand how to pull on that string, he fixes. He'll adjust for you. He'll do it, right? Men don't change. That's crap. That's bullshit. Approach him the right way. They're happy to change for your comfort. They want to make you happy. That's all they want to do, is to make you happy. Just if you pay attention to how often you hear men say, I thought this would make her happy. I bought this because I thought it'd make you happy. I was thinking about you. I thought I'd make you smile, make you happy, right? All the time. Pay attention to this. There's a whole new way of seeing men's behavior with women. So when women feeling driven, unhappy with him for whatever reason, like your friend with expecting him to read her mind, how is he supposed to do this? He's constantly going to fail at this, right? So failure is death for man. So when he fails with a woman who's never happy and tells him that's his fault, that she's unhappy, he loses. So typically 70% of divorces are instigated by women because she feels so bad. But they never did that gender intelligence stuff. They don't understand each other. They don't understand men's behavior. They take it personally. They make him wrong for it and they leave. But smart people don't do this. Smart people go and find out, if there's something there's something fundamentally wrong with him or her. It's obviously that's different, but I'm talking at the source, at the base. Most people are pretty basic and normal, but function differently. Go ahead.
One of the things I've noticed, I would argue it's more in younger people, but I have seen it in older people too, is that they're either too eager to commit and they do it too quickly, because they want to be like everybody else, basically, or he'll do, or she'll do, or they've been together a while and then they go, oh, we might as well get married. We might as well move in together. We might as well whatever. But there's never an actual conversation about like whether they see life in the same way in terms of direction, vision, all that sort of stuff. And that is commitment stuff, isn't it?
This is my life. You just said it. Like what I see is people don't want to do and build a relationship because they're afraid of divorce. They're afraid of being heartbroken. They're afraid, they've seen their families do it or their siblings do it or their parents do it. They don't want to step into that. They're afraid. So what they do, and what I see all the time is what I call it, instead of learning to ballroom dance and really get into partnership and learning how to do this, people are afraid. So they take the shortcut, which means I call it, instead of ballroom dancing, they go club dancing. They get on the dance floor in front of each other. It's you and me, but they're really not touching or blending or exchanging anything. They don't share bank accounts. They move in together, but they don't do this. They don't really learn to commit. They don't really learn. They're so afraid of getting attached or getting hurt or getting divorced or it falling apart that they don't. They just.
And to be fair, it also figures out they don't even learn who each other are.
They stay separate. Like how many couples do I know? They're living together. Yeah. So it's logistically. They do the logistic. I like her. I like him. You know what I mean? Let's move in together because it's cheaper. If it's expensive, and it's hanging there until we can't stand each other or that I find out that I'm bored with you, right? Nobody steps in. So of course, and again, they start relationships through sex first, which doesn't work long term. That's a whole different topic. So people get on the floor and act like, like I say, like animals, basically. It's just basic instinct. have some sex, moving together, be safe, hang in there, but they don't build anything. And without building anything, it doesn't go far. And eventually it falls apart. Right. So there's no building. Nobody's stepping in. Nobody's stepping in and committing solidly. They just kind of play house, thinking they're safer. Anything, talk to any rich businessman about this. Anything that's big took a lot of risk, big risk, right? There's always a like, oh my God, this could kill us off or we'll be millionaires. You know what I mean? There's always a big risk in getting big things in life. Well, if you want a healthy, big relationship that lasts 30 years, you got to get in there. If you're going to be afraid, you're going to this small and you create very, very small, right? It's worth the risk.
So when you say like, being afraid, because just to share a bit about me, in the past, I was often told that I was a commitment phobe, okay? And one of the reasons why that was, and to be fair, marriage was either proposed to or discussed 6 times. And each of these times I said no. I said no because I suppose deep down I knew that it wasn't quite right. There was something that wasn't quite right. But the thing that wasn't quite right was that actually I wasn't ready. I just wasn't. And nor were these people. I'm still friends with some of them, to be fair, but they went right for me. And to me, I was never a commitment phobe. I was just not ready, or I'd not met the right person, or wherever it is. But do you think there is such a thing as a commitment phobe?
Absolutely.
Men
people
or
have been
women?
hurt, people that have seen terrible things happen in relationships. People that have bad childhood who can't trust women, who will say like, men are dangerous, men are toxic, I can't trust men, they're cheaters anyway. Why would you do this? So it's asking to get your heart broken. They don't do it. So there's broken people who none of this makes.
But they do,
but they're the ones who go for the relationships that will destroy them. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you think men are toxic, this is going to be really your subconscious will drive you right to that. And then you'll prove the men are toxic.
Yeah, quite.
If you think women are crazy or dangerous, you'll find every crazy, dangerous woman in the world. If you could be in a room full of incredible, right? Because your subconscious drives the show, your belief system. This is why people say we only use 10% of our brain, because really 10% of our brain is conscious, 90% is subconscious. The subconscious is driving the show, and we forget. So we think we make choices, but really it drives. So if you've had a bad upbringing or had bad decision about relationship, men, women, life, you becomes your drivers, and you find yourself in the loop. No matter how many relationships you get in, it's always the same result. You attract the same type person in different bodies, right? The same ending story. Women who find abusive men have a story about men from childhood, their fathers typically. So there are people that are actually relationship or commitment phobes, but those are not healthy people. Now, there could be a lot of them out there, sure, but what people typically understand is when they find themselves in the loop, they go, wow, it's not them, it's me. How many times do I say this? Honey, it's not them, it's you. It's not man. All men in the world are toxic. No, it's you. That's your filter, right? Same with women, men, right? They're not all crazy. They're not going to cheat on you, because women cheat as much as men. Nobody wants to talk about that. So when men that are being cheated on, who are like really, really angry about all women in the world because that's all they attract, I go, it's not them, it's you. You attract the small percentage, of women who will do this to you. It's not them, it's you, right? So we all have that. So hurt people, right? People that are broken will do broken things, and what's normal, what's healthy is not on the radar. But every person who's successful, typically, watch people who have big, great success, usually come from very difficult beginnings.
I was just about to say, one of the reasons why I kind of called it the way to commitment is that, as you were saying about businesses, and the ones who make it big normally have taken risks and blah, blah, blah. It's the same with anything in life. It's about learning from your mistakes and your failures. If you don't learn from it, you keep on repeating it. And until you do, that's when you can be ready to
what I'm saying is, you can be broken, you can have a terrible beginning. I mean, look at Oprah Winfrey's story, Quincy Jones. Watch the people that are huge in the world. If you look at their beginnings, they shouldn't have made it. They shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? I have a client, a man who was both physically and sexually abused by both his parents as a boy, all the way through puberty. He should be in a ditch with a needle in his arm. He's not. He's fighting for his life. It's just mentioning all this, right? So even people that have terrible beginnings that could be broken by life, the ones who make great things, great strides, and actually typically end up with a good life, me included, are people that step into their shit and get it handled, right? And fight for it, as opposed to blame the world and become victims, right? That's really
it's taking responsibility, isn't it? In life and in relationships,
everything.
People don't. It's blame.
Victim.
It's everyone's fault.
So when you have victim mentality, well, watch you die. The rest of the people, instead of falling into victimhood, get feisty and fight for it. And those are the people that get all the goodies, relationships, money, lifestyle, businesses, fight for it. Now it takes courage. I get it, right? It's not easy. But what else are you going to do all day? Go fight for it. Go freaking fight for it. What else are you going to do all day? Complain the rest of your freaking life? Ridiculous.
Yeah, quite. But I think the other thing, going back to commitment, is that another issue is that people don't always communicate what they want, or they're not honest about who they are, because they want to be liked and needed and whatever, accepted. So they put on a persona that's not actually really who they are. And then, when people say, oh, she has changed, they haven't changed. They were always
right,
that
but they presented a different front. And it's actually so very predictable in my world. Like the first 3 months, it's always the honeymoon phase. Everybody behaves, everything's great, nothing bothers anybody, it's all fantastic. And after 3 months, both men and women will say, things are different. I'm like, oh yeah, because now people start getting real, right? So there's a bunch of ways that happens. And there's actually, it's interesting, it's so interesting. Everything I keep saying, everything I teach is nature, right? And nature and science. And even in the building blocks of a relationship, there's nature in there. There's rhythm. Just like there's rhythm in everything in life, everything that's in nature has rhythm, right? Days, weeks, months, seasons, years, right? So there's 4 seasons to build a relationship. Like we think we're all unique and everybody's like, no, like in my world, we watch people who date once or twice a week, has this whole cycle, right? It goes a little faster if you see each other more, but as a rule, you could date somebody once or twice a week, when you like each other. So there's a 3-month phase, there's a 6-month phase, there's a 9-month phase, and there's a 12-month phase. It takes 12 months to get to know somebody. People don't think that way, right? You find your soulmate, you fly to Las Vegas if you're on this side of the world. You get married in Vegas after 3 months because my soulmate would finish other sentences. The sex incredible, thinking, no, that's one layer.
Yeah, that's not going to keep you going when you're 80.
That's chemistry that doesn't last very long. And really 6 months later, they want to kill each other because whatever, like they're based their relationship on one thing. There's 3 layers, 3 things you have to have a relationship to go long term. Chemistry is the first one, as in body chemistry.
Yeah. And you need to find each other, physically attractive, lust, all of that.
You can't change chemistry. Somebody has chemistry for you or they don't, and you do for them or you don't. Sometimes one does, the other one doesn't. It don't work automatically. So you both have to have chemistry for each other first. The body has to be attracted to each other for it to grasp. There's a chemistry to that, right? Nature, chemistry, there's a bond. Second thing, you have to be compatible. Now that could mean 7,000 different things. And compatibility is typically, are we going the same way in life? Are we looking for the same thing? Are you looking for family and kids, or no? Do you want to finish life on a beach somewhere, or you want to finish in Alaska? Because compatibility is really tricky. Some people compatibility is same religion. If he's Jewish, he has to be Jewish.
Yeah.
Some it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
So you have to discover compatibility and sort of have the same kind of vision of the future,
values as well.
Values, all of it, in order to build a future. So number 2. Number 3 is effective communication. Is you have to be able to communicate respectfully. You're going to hear me say this all the time. Your wants and your needs. Your wants and your needs. That has to be in the building blocks of the year. How do you respectfully negotiate your wants and needs? When you do this, it makes you feel like this. I really don't like it. Can we look into this? Right? When you say this is what happens to me. I don't like it. When you do this, I like it. If you do this, I'll do this. Right? But people don't have these freaking conversations, right? They're scared. They're scared, but still get this. There's a psychology to that as well. It's interesting.
There's also a psychology of assumption. They think they know what they're going to hear back.
Well, actually, get this. It's actually the psychology of expectations. We expect people to treat us like we want to be treated, but we don't tell them.
Yeah, quite.
That's the psychology part, because if you tell them, it's vulnerable, first of all, so it's a little scary. And if they laugh in your face, then you're hurt. So nobody wants to be laughed. So you basically show people how you want to be treated, which is very unclear. Mind reading, again, like your friend earlier, right? You expect people to read your mind. And when they don't meet those expectations, then you assume they don't love you, they're shitty, they're right. So everything in my world always comes down to this. In every relationship, business relationship with children, is we have expectations of what's right and wrong for us, but we don't talk about it. And then when they don't meet them, then we make judgment about them, and then we become enemies, and they have no idea what happened.
There's another couple of things I've really noticed. One is how little details actually do matter, as opposed to just for big things. And also the routine, because said friend was with this girl that kept on saying that, he wasn't a real man and all the rest of it. Right. He started seeing somebody else. And recently, And at the moment, it's all brand new, isn't it? So it's all exciting. Goes to her house, she goes to his house, and we do this, and we go to cinema, and we do whatever. That's all very lovely because it's been like 1 month. But at some point, you've got a routine. And this is where people sometimes don't get that routine is a thing, but you've got to have in common in a way, isn't it? Because if you don't kind of slide it in together, it ain't going to work either. So there's all these little things about, it's not just meeting someone you like and you fancy and you whatever. Can you live with them? Can you talk to them forever? Can you this, blah, blah, blah.
So many little things, and I love the idea. Like, so first 3 months is always honeymoon. Second 3 months is when people get real. Yeah. I had clients that would tell you stories. It's funny. Like one woman said to me, like, he likes to burp the alphabet and he thinks it's really funny. And she's like, he's never done that before, right? That came up after the perfect phase. And then one guy said to me, he goes, dude, she takes a dump with the door open now. What the hell? like people get real. All the facade and all the, people get real. This is when you get to know really what you're dancing with. But often this is interesting. Like, I have a client going through this right now and stepping into the 4 month with this new girl. She was fantastic. She was exactly what she wanted. She was out. She was, they could finish the sentence, blah, and the sex was great, and blah, blah. And all of a sudden, she's like, she's changed. She's changed. She's not the girl I met 3 months ago. And part of it, that happens on both sides, by the way, and it's the facade comes off, and now you're getting to know the girl. Sometimes women, if she really likes the guy, that happens a lot. Insecurities will make her try to be the perfect girlfriend because she started noticing he likes blondes, he likes thin, he likes this, like that. She's not, right? So then she started getting insecure. So she's trying to please him in other ways. And she becomes so inauthentic, right? Because he liked her already. He didn't have to change anything, but she's so likes him trying to be pleasing and pleasant. Again, instinctive woman, survival.
I always remember, right? So this is years ago. I was in the corporate world and someone in the head office had got married. I think she was 25, 26, something like that. Quite young, shall we say. Anyway, the next time I was there, so I said, oh, congratulations, whatever. How do you feel? Because you got married sort of thing.
Right.
And the answer, I remember thinking, and I didn't know any of this at the time, by the way, but I remember thinking, fuck, you are doomed. Yep. She said to me, yeah, I can rest now. And I thought, oh my God, that's the beginning of the end. You're going to be completely changing. You're not going to make an effort. The poor bloke's going to be taken for granted.
The girl that he married is going to go away. Yeah.
So she had kept up that facade for a good 2 or 3 years. And literally, the minute she got married, I can rest now. You can't. It starts.
This is actually also, there's a cave woman, like that idea of like, I can relax now. I'm married. Like, he's going to protect me forever. But you have to keep up the deal, right? If you let go of your part of the deal, it's going to go to hell really quickly, right? So don't dare. I hear that all the time too. There's a certain arrogance to a woman who put up this whole front. So the guy marries her, sees her as valuable, and then she goes, I can finally relax. I can gain 50 pounds because we're married now. I can let myself go because he has to come home to me now. Like, very, 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 very destructive. And then, wonder why he has an affair. And now she blames him as a pig. Well, you can't let go of your part of the deal. Right? When somebody lets go of taking care of themselves, whatever that looks like in the relationship will go to hell. Period.
Yeah.
Right. But what I was going to say earlier about the 3 months thing is when a woman is insecure and she tries to pretzel herself into being the perfect woman, the girl he liked already, that's why he's there. The man will say stuff like, I don't know what happened to the girl that I like, but that's not her anymore. So sometimes it's that insecurity that makes women go and twist themselves, but authentically she disappears. So it falls off. My favorite is when women say, well, he used to be romantic and we used to go for dinner, Tony, he used to call me 4 times a day. And now if he calls me once a day, he's like, now that he's got me, I always have to do 3 months. Now that he's got me, he's taking me for granted after 3 months already. And I go, hold on 1 second, right? We cannot, the first 3 months, there's such chemistry, there's such bonding, there's such excitement, there's such sexuality, there's so much, right? All the juices are flowing. That's actually, again, nature on purpose. This is nature bonding us together. But I say, honey, eventually we have to get back to work. You can't spend, months having sex all night long and sleeping 2 hours a day. Eventually that has to stop. We have to get back to rhythm, systems, life. So he's gonna, he has to refocus on what the system of his life that keeps him a good man, working so he can take care of you. He has to go back to work. right? So there's less focus on the relationship because it's sliding into life and reality. That's not necessarily bad, right? Let him, he's a man. He has to continue, building what he's building in order to be the man and continue being the man. Otherwise, basically, you let everything go and all you do is have sex, have fun. Eventually, the whole thing's going to fall asleep. It's who's going to pay the rent. The whole thing's going to fall to bits, right? So is he changing or no? This nature again has to kick in, and it takes different levels, different steps. The maturity of a relationship changes, and was superficial in the beginning, takes a different place, and then it keeps actually, if you're healthy, keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But if you're going to change, and this is what I see all the time, people kind of throw the relationships away because, well, it's no fun anymore, and he used to be and she used to be, and or it should be easy, and if it's not easy, obviously it's the wrong person. No, this is not easy. This you have to work at. This you have to practice. You have to know how that works. You have to study and research and practice. It takes 5 years to create a ballroom couple. Why? They're just dancing, but it takes a long time to get in flow. They're communicating without talking. There's an energy thing. There's a yin and yang in that, right? Ladies, gentlemen, get to work. It's not supposed to be easy.
This is the thing. This is what people really, it's commitment and commitment. The commitment to, yes, I want to be with this person is one thing, but commitment should really not take place too quickly. You do need to go through these things together, because otherwise you're making a decision that's based on nothingness, really, on perception.
It takes a year to create that bond. I'm telling you, it takes a year to find out who that other person is. Interestingly enough, again, also rhythm and cycles, it takes 9 months. Again, if you see each other once or twice a week, the rhythm of this, 9 months to find out if there's a deal breaker. Not 2 weeks, not a month, not 3 months. Don't get married in Vegas 3 months later. You don't know that person. It takes 9 months to find out if there's a deal breaker with that person. They reveal themselves that slowly, right? 9 months. The guy likes to drink. It takes 9 months to find out he's a drunk. The girl's a little bit off. It takes 9 months to find out she's polyamorous. Right? So easy does it, right? And then 9 months, if there's no deal breakers, this is the same. It's super predictable. It's amazing. We think we're all so special or unique or individuals, and we are, but we're not at the same time, right? Nature. And it takes 9 months. If there's no deal breakers, this is actually when we can look at the future going, I think this may work. This is when people actually step in. The last 3 months of the year, the fourth season, literally, is when we call it the commitment phase. This is when people think, I think this should work, right? Like it lines up, they're compatible, they have the same goal in the future. Like they've talked about all this stuff, and there's no deal breakers. So wow, and then you can step in, deciding how you're going to continue this relationship, this dance. Fascinating, quite simple. Don't rush it. Take it easy. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to step on each other's toes a lot. But if you stay in it, you'll get the flow, you'll get the communication, you'll get the deal making, you'll be able to negotiate your wants and needs so that he gets it, she gets it. It takes a while to get in flow. It doesn't. It takes get to work. It's if it's worth something, it's worth the work. Ask any businessman.
No, yeah, quite. So, Andre, we're getting towards the end of our time together. So, can you please share one last pearl of wisdom?
And this is what it is. So, one I use on men a lot, but it applies to women as well. Get comfortable with getting uncomfortable. It's stuff you don't know that's messing you up. It's assumptions that you make that are holding you stuck, right? So you have to step out of the box that you're familiar with, and it's also always uncomfortable. But if you stay in your box, you don't grow. So for me, I'm always stepping out of the box because it's when I'm uncomfortable and when I don't know what to do, don't know what to say, don't know how it's going to turn out, that it turns out. And I go, ooh, look, I just learned something. I thought it was a lot. It's not as scary as I thought it was going to be, right? It's pushing the boundaries and pushing out, and forget comfort. It gets you nowhere. Again, every successful person knows this. They push the boundaries. They step out. They grab their fears and put them behind them and push through. And that's how you build confidence. That's how you build your character. That's how you build your self-esteem. It's by conquering the stuff that you're afraid of, both men and women. So message is, step in. Instead of stepping back, step in.
Right, Andre, thank you so much for your time today. And for everybody else, if you enjoyed the show, then please subscribe, leave us a review, but more importantly, come back for the next episode. Thank you.